Welcome back, dear viewers, to the second part of our presentation. We now go to tip number 5. This concerns the spelling of any word that has the final 3 letters in the following sequence: consonant, vowel, consonant. If the CVC at the end of a word, is in yellow, are also stressed, you simply have to double the final consonant before adding the suffixes ed, ing, er, est. For example, when I say begin, begin, G, the last 3 letters are G, consonant, I, vowel, and N, consonant. And therefore, for me to say beginner or beginning, I need another N. That's the rule, as you can see them here. But we have a few exceptions. For example, this cannot be doubled. X cannot be doubled. W actually is not even a consonant. In sound, it's a vowel, so there is no need to double it. Pay, the same thing, is a vowel in sound. Look at this transfer, a special case. It's what we call an exception that confirms the rule. This exception is that although it is stressed, we don't double it when we add the suffix able. Transferable. You know, when we come to this one, we say, for example, transfer. Okay, here we say transfer is a verb. Transfer is a noun. So, as a verb, we stress on the last syllable, transfer. As a noun, transfer, like that. So, this is what we are saying here. It's an exception. We just have to commit it to memory, to learn it by heart, to memorize. The suffix "is", which is ISE in the UK and IZE in the States, would simply mean make. When you say victimize, to make a victim, you see, just like that. Memorize, commit to memory, and so on, analyze. So, this is why we say we have to learn them by heart, not to learn by rote. Rote learning is good for parrots because they don't understand what they are saying. We have to understand what we are learning by heart. We have to commit it to memory. Tip number 6, spelling tip number 6. The same CVC, if it is not stressed, then there is no need to double the final C consonant. Just add the suffixes you need to add. Let me come back a little bit on this one and state that any monosyllabic word, adjective or verb or whatever, if it comprises only one syllable and the final and that syllable comprises, for example, CVC, then it should be considered as stressed. That's why we have written them in capital. We come back to number 6. We have already explained that. We have a few exceptions. Look at this. Worship. Hip is not stressed, but we double it in the UK. We don't in America. Format. Mat is not stressed. CVC is not stressed, but we double it. We have to learn it by heart. Simply that. No two ways about it. Kidnap. Nap is not stressed, but we have to double it in the UK, not so in the America. Spelling tip number 7. This now is CVL, any consonant, any vowel, and consonant L, only L, like in this one. If the last 3 letters are consonant, vowel, and letter L, we normally double the L in British spelling, but we don't in the States, in American spelling, except for excel. Excel will be doubled in both the UK, RP, and the American Standard English. We can't change this one. Level would be like that, but in America, 1L, 1L, 1L. These are the exceptions we have talked about. They don't change at all. Spelling tip number 8. This concerns the sound seed, spelled as C-E-E-D. Allow me to submit that only 3 words. Well, sometimes the sound seed is spelled as C-E-E-D or C-E-D-E. C-E-D-E, or one case, S-E-D-E. Now, let's come back to C-E-E-D. I say there are only 3 words, namely succeed, proceed, exceed. The rest of the seed sound would take C-E-D-E, C-E-D-E, except supersede, where you have a choice to make, an option rather, or should we say an alternative spelling is this one, S-E-D-E or C-E-D-E. The rest is C-E-D-E throughout. Spelling tip number 9. Are we supposed to write E-I-E or E-I? It depends. We have a few rules to follow. We cannot move without rules, and we have to learn them by heart. That's why we go to school. All right? Rule number 1. For us to write E-I, when it sounds E, long E sound, it should be after letter C. That's a universal rule. There are no exceptions here. We come to B. Where do we write? When do we write E-I? Well, if the sound is A, L, I, E, E. So for example, A, neighbor, 8, like that. When you come to the Oxford, take the Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary, edition number 8. They will read this word as being heinous, heinous. But if you go to the Cambridge Dictionary, this word is pronounced as heinous, heinous crime. There they will say heinous crime. Well, we just have to comply. Whichever you use, well, it's traceable in the dictionary, so we won't be wrong. Heir to the throne. This is I. If you are in the UK, the standard sound is normally either in the UK, but either in America. Either in America. So whichever you use is not a big offense. I know we might talk of lack of consistency. Maybe lack of consistency should apply to spellings more than to sounds, phonetics. We now come to C. When do we write I-E? In the following word, when it sounds E. When it sounds E, we have believe, siege, these words. They are all long E sound. Babies, fiend, filled, mean, willed. When I-E sounds I, we also have that kind of spelling I-E. Die, lie, pliers, and so on. Then also ear, all right? Beer, per diem, diem, and so on. It can also sound as like you say, friend is my friend, okay? I being silent in that spelling. We now come to spelling tip number 10. It's a question of soft and hard C and G. In short, we can say that these two consonants, when they are followed by vowels, E, I, and also semi-vowel Y, these two are soft sounds. When they are followed by vowel, A, O, and U, they are hard sound. What do we mean? Here we are. Examples. This C is followed by E, so cement, artifice, C. Okay? Scenic, bicycle, S is there, cybernaut, cytoplasm, seco, celery. All of these will produce what we call soft S sound because they are followed by I, E, and Y. A few exceptions are here. Skeptic, cello. We can say here Celtic or Celtic. Both sounds are acceptable, are traceable in a dictionary, so there is no problem. But if you call it as Celtic, then that's a hard sound. Celtic, it's a soft sound, as we have said above. We come to another exception now. This is for C producing a hard sound K when it is followed by A, O, and U. Here, car, cutlery, procure, come. All of these come is K, K, K throughout. And then we come now to soft, we can call this soft G sound, which will produce the sound J. Like for example, when G is followed by E and I and Y. This is an approximate rule, a general rule. we have always exception, special cases. So for example, it's not gesture, it's gesture. Jim, ginger, giant, gypsy, this spelling or that spelling. Exceptions are here, give, which is a hard sound, gynecology, gimmick, and many others, We now come to the hard G sound. When G gives us the sound G, G, G. It's when it is followed by vowels A, O, and U, like here. Gigantic, game, G, G, got, Goliath, gun, God, room, and so on. And so we have to really abide by those. Why do we say this? Because if we don't do that, if we don't keep this G, these E's, for example, the word manage is correct sound, it follows the rule. If we drop the E here, it will give us manageable. So for us to keep the manageable sound, we maintain that E. Same thing here. If we drop the E, it will give us trackable. So we keep it to say traceable. Here, the last letter is C. If we don't insert K from somewhere, it will give us trafficking. So for us to get trafficking, we just have to bring in K from nowhere. And then it gives us trafficking, trafficked, trafficker. That's the rule, the general rule. Spelling tip number 11. These are easily confused pairs of words. You know, when we reach, for example, December is normally called a festive season. We have Christmas on the one hand, we have the New Year, blah, blah, blah. So people say, complement of the season. Which complement is that to be spelled? Is this complement or that complement? Of course, it's this with I, complements of the season. This one is for an angle which will form a 90 degrees. Complementary angle, as opposed to a supplementary angle for a flat angle, which is 180 degrees. If you are selling writing pads, writing materials and textbooks, your shop, is it a stationery like this? They have the same sound. Is it A or E? Of course it's E for shop. A shop that sells writing materials, books and pencils and so on. This one is you're not moving, immobile in the United Kingdom, immobile in the States. Summary and summary, same sound. This spelling would refer to the season, summer, summery clothes, okay? And this is for your exam, a summary, abridged version of something long. Oral and oral, some of late, they've also included oral. This has nothing, you won't speak here, you will just be listening. And then the teacher will be speaking and giving you instructions, you just write without speaking. Here you have to speak, you don't have to write. Oral. All right? Now look at this, the last one on this tip number 11, spelling tip number 11. Correspondent. It's one R. And this is the partner in the crime we call adultery. All right? This one is a journalist, double R. Correspondent is a journalist. This one is the partner with whom you committed adultery. Spelling tip number 12. Proper nouns, how you spell. If you capitalize or you don't capitalize, it matters a lot in conveying the correct meaning you have conceived. Proper nouns, verses, this is how they write verses, this is how they abbreviate it in the UK, this is how they abbreviate it in the US. Proper nouns versus common nouns. If I say Far East like this, if I write like that in writing, I mean a geographic region. If I write like this, I mean direction, small f, small e. South Africa is a country, it's a proper noun. Go south, it's just a direction, small. North Korea, the West, during the Cold War, there was the East and the West bloc. The East, the West, you know, these European capitalist countries. This is the direction. Pentagon, this is the headquarters, the military headquarters for the United States, superpower America. And then this is a 5-sided figure, Pentagon, same sound. But look at the spelling. A Democrat is a member of the Democratic Party only in America. A Democrat is any person who believes in democracy. So how we write affects the meaning. We are not free to do as we please. No. Spelling tip number 13. we are now going to talk about spelling silent letters. Yes, they are not there in sound, but they are there in spelling. This is one feature of the English language. If I write this word like this in a classroom, or even if I ask you, dear viewers, to read it, most of you would be most likely to pronounce victual or something like that, which is wrong, because all the red letters here are supposed to be silent. So this word will be called simply as victuals, victuals. And this is viscount. This is not principally, no, principally, let's say academically. Tortoise, all the red letters are silent. Subpoena, subpoena, that's for the court. We can go on. I can even write here for your sake and challenge you. Let me do it really very quickly, because we are all at school, okay? How would you read that word, for example? I've written it in capital letters deliberately. How will you read it? Well, most of you would be likely to say whanau. It's not whanau. If you say New Zealand English, this is fanau, fanau. Can I put the stress there for you? You will check. I hope you have a dictionary, and so you can check it. Stress, long R. Oh, this is phonetics. There are no capital letters. Fa now. That's a syllable. Fa now. Check in your dictionary and you will find this information. I've written it deliberately in capital letters because these letters, WH here, will give us the sound, what do I say, F, not wa. You see, we can go on and on like that. We have this one. If you do like this, I'm coughing, cough. Cough is what? It's like this. That's cough. Let me write it also capital for you to see. You know, we have to be careful. But now, that's cough, cough. If I now add HIC, if I put HIC in front, it becomes what? It becomes hiccup. The F goes away. You see, that's how the language operates. And we can only abide by its grammar. So we don't have to go, you know, find other solutions. This is hiccup. You remove the first three letters, you get cough, hiccup. So it's a bit unpredictable. And this is why we are saying there is no way you can write a word without, you know, producing its sound. That's why we call phonetics and correct spelling orthography as inseparable linguistic twins. It's only phonetics which will tell us pronounce hiccups, or hiccup, not hiccough. Pronounce fa now, not hua now. So they are inseparable indeed. We now come to B. You know, we have a number of words that have come from French. The French ruled the English for 300 years by Norman the Conqueror. And so they left behind a lot of French words. Any words which ends in ed, borrowed from French, will produce the sound a. For example, this is not beret, no, it's beret, beret. And by the way, in the United Kingdom, we stress on the first syllable. In the States, on the second syllable. Where British will say beret, American will say beret. Crochet, crochet. Chalet, because it's borrowed from French. Like that, throughout. All right? Ricochet, like that. And so on. Again, other French words that end in a, bearing an acute accent or without an accent, if these words come from French, then they should be pronounced also as a. So we have sauté, canapé. By the way, let me come back to you. Let me come back to this one. You know, the item, the piece of furniture there on our bed. It's not duvet, it's duvet. Duvet, that's for American. Duvet is for British. Duvet in the United Kingdom. Duvet, you know. And so we come back to this one. As you can see, all of these E's in yellow will produce the sound A, whether you like it or not. Passé, flambé, fiancé, pâté, and then internet cafe, where we go to. Check in your dictionary, you will find this information recorded there accurately. So don't ask me questions. It's the dictionary which is guiding us on these sounds. We now come to this one. We have already said it. British will stress on the first syllable, American on the second one. Beret, beret, just like that. We have already said it. You take it at your own, you peruse, at your own convenience to find out more information about what we are saying here. And you are prepared to be corrected should you come across anything any discrepancy from what we are presenting here. I challenge you to find any discrepancy, and let's continue the debate on other social media, why not on Facebook and so on, and internet. Spelling tip number 14. This is now, you see, how to remember if a word is long. Well, one of the ways to do so is to cut that word, to find other words inside that word. The word carpenter, for instance, you can get carp, an edible freshwater fish. You can get enter, my house, or a car, and then pant, and then the interjection, like you're hesitating, okay? Carpentry, you've got car, and pen, and try. And then you can also do carp, the same fish, edible fish from fresh water, and entry, admission, okay? Exaggerate. You can find ex, my ex-wife, my ex-husband, my ex-teacher, blah, 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 and aged, the wrong spelling of aged. We learn also from mistakes. How else can we learn if we don't make mistakes? So this is the wrong spelling of aged, double G instead of one G, and then rated. That way you can easily remember a word. Stubbornness, quite a long word. We have the stab, then we have the bone, then we have the ness. Bone without an E, by the way. They have bone with an E and without an E originate from the same root, to bear, to produce, to create, and so on. Memorize will give you me and mo, a short moment, and rise. Or memo and then rise. All right? We have talked about I-S-E, which means, the suffix means to make. Victimize, to make a victim, and so on. All the I's would imply to commit to memory. Attraction, at, track, and iron in chemistry. Mammoth, you have mam, this spelling, although there is another O and U, in America, plus this insect, flying insect with long wings, moth. Another way of remembering the spelling we propose of longer words is to create your own mnemonic word, phrase, or formula. The formula 2 plus 2 in embarrass would mean I have 2 R's and 2 S. Accommodation, 2 plus 2, 2 C's and 2 M's. Harass or harass, 2 sounds. You stress on the first or the second syllable. Harass or harass. So there is 1 plus 2, 1 R, 2 S. Porridge, just 2, meaning 2 R. If this can't work, create your own. But it has worked with others, I wish to warn you. The last item the last spelling tip I want to submit in this presentation is about, poaching you from those entertainment video games into educational video games. In other words, we can combine actually the two. We have to combine educational and entertaining video games. What are they? It's like one of them is anagram. I give you a word edit. You can play around with these letters to create other words like tide, diet. I give you the word words in the plural. Then you've got sword. So here is an exercise, and you can also play Scrabble, and you can also read the word backward, like here on the top and pot. The exercises here, the answers are below here. So you can if you play these games regularly, definitely your spelling would be improved beyond your own expectation. You will become an excellent speller. I challenge you to try them and to report back to us. For more details, please go to our Lundula Publishing House Facebook and you will find more details. Let's communicate on internet and so on and so forth. I hope that you have learned 1 or 2 things And let's continue educating ourselves, making education a pleasurable experience. Thank you very much once again for your commitment and your company to me, with me. Until